I'll get started. Awesome. So welcome to DSC Spring 2021. This is just a funny meme that one of our VP of events actually put together. And we're just excited for you to be here with us and also attend all of our data science events, hopefully this term. And just a couple things that I wanted to bring up is that since this term will be completely online, we will be having all of our workshops, events, everything hosted through Zoom. And we also have a member link so we're just keeping track of the people that are joining our team freshly this term, or if you're a returning member, feel free to update that as well so we know who to send out emails to. And you can find that link either on our link tree or we'll make announcements on our Discord as well. But yeah, okay, so what is the Data Science Club? So the reason that this whole club came into existence is we wanted to help students like yourselves be able to get your foot in the door with data science and be able to meet other students who are also interested in data science and also learn more about it, which is why we have events throughout the term ranging from alumni panels where you're able to hear from people in the data science field, and it could be in data engineering and data analysts and everything really about the world of data. And we also wanted you to be able to learn. So we have workshops and reading groups and things like that to make sure that you really have that starting push to get your foot in the door and really make it in this industry if you're interested. And before I go any further, I did want to introduce myself. I'm Prithika, a second-year management engineering student at the University of Waterloo, and I will be the president this term as well. And now I will go ahead and introduce our wonderful team. So we have Julia, who's our VP of social media, and Aman and Bradley, who will be our members. And then for external affairs, we have Romina, who's our VP of external affairs. And fun fact, I think she's been with us for over a year now. And then for our members, we have 3 new members. So we have Ankur, Vipasha, and Jalen. For finance, we are finally expanding. We've always only had 1 VP of finance, but I'm glad that our team is expanding. And we have Akshita and Nikun joining us this term as well. And for the design team, we have Khan as our VP, and we have Angela, Amy, and Amar as our members as well. And then for education, we have our VP of education is Jack, and I believe that he's also been here for almost a year, so that's exciting. And then we have Tom, Winston, and Rachel, who will be our workshop and reading group leads. And then for events, we have Smriti, who I think she joined in first year, so that's also very exciting. And then we have 4 other event coordinators. So we have Cindy, Vanshid, Vansh, and Ryan. And now I'll give it over to the VP of Education to take it up. Go ahead, Jack.
Okay, thanks, Prithika. So throughout this term, we will be hosting several workshops. And the goal of the workshops are to offer an opportunity to club members to learn about the theory and application of a range of data science topics. And these workshops are created so that they're open to all skill levels. A few of the planned workshops we have this term are data pipelining, recommender systems, graph theory applications, and a few others. We are finalizing the dates for our workshops by the end of this week, and we'll send out the schedule via Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. We record all of our workshops and post them to our YouTube channel, which I put a link into the chat. So if you guys haven't checked that out, I'd highly recommend checking it. And it also has recordings from workshops from previous terms. So it's a great resource that I think all club members should be aware of. We're also going to be hosting a reading group this term. And reading groups are a great opportunity for club members to read and discuss papers about areas of research and data science. The topic for the reading group this term is Monte Carlo methods, which refers to a branch of algorithms which use randomness to solve deterministic problems. And it has a range of real-world applications. So if you're interested in reading groups and what I've told you about the Monte Carlo methods, again, stay tuned for updates on the scheduling, which will be posted in the upcoming week.
We will also be hosting some speaker events throughout the term. This will be similar to HRT presentations from September. These are usually to understand how data science or similar positions are in the company. You can ask questions about the research they are doing, what types of technologies or what internships are available. Given that everything is online, it is a great way to network with representatives from companies and find out more about positions you are interested in. Another speaker event we will be having is a lightning talk with undergrad students in research or professors to speak about what research they are doing. If you're a student currently in research and want to speak about what you are doing, please reach out to us on our Facebook page and we can set something up.
This term we'll be hosting two industry events. One of them will be a co-op panel. If you're a first year or someone who is looking to learn more about data scientist roles at different companies, asking other students questions is a great way to do this. We'll have a variety of students from different companies so that you can learn a bit about how to break into the field, what type of company work X does, and any other questions you might have about the student's experience. We'll also be hosting a project program where you can work on a project as a team under the guidance of a mentor who will work closely with you throughout the project. At the end of the program, your project will be judged by industry professionals and prizes will be awarded. Consider this as an extended hackathon, except you'll be assigned mentors. This should be a great way to get a side project on your resume and potentially show off to companies.
Lastly, we will be having club socials. There will be a games night happening next Friday to let you all de-stress a bit over before reading week. And we will have another one near the end of the term. There'll be prizes available, so come compete with others in Pictionary or poker to win some gift cards.
All right. First of all, that was amazing. Okay, I don't have anything as well prepared as that, but I'm the VP of podcast. I'm Jay, and something that I was like, when you look online, you don't find is answers to some basic questions, right? Which is Google listening? And if it's tracking you, how does it track you? Or we learn about machine learning, but we don't learn about how machines learn from the very beginning, right? How do a set of transistors end up actually understanding these interesting concepts? And another thing that I think about a lot is we all go through co-ops and we learn about how to get co-ops. We don't learn about how to get an outstanding or excellent during a co-op. So these are the questions that we're trying to find answers to. And to do that, we every single Saturday or every second Saturday, we bring in a professional from the data science, machine learning field, either an intern or a full-time person, and talk about that. Different fields we look at are machine learning, AI, data science, data engineering, analytics. So we want to give you a broad sense of what data can do for different organizations and different organizations like Shopify, Facebook, Citadel, Snapcommerce, startups, Google. And this time we're going to have a special guest. This guy is a YouTuber, Nicholas Renault. Gurvik, actually, one of the people on our team got him. So if you move to the next slide, it's pretty okay. Thanks. All right. So this is our podcast team. This is the first ever podcast team we've come up with. So we have Jay. He's the head of growth, and he's supposed to engage you with interesting content. Kathy, she's the head of marketing. So if you guys learn about podcasts from anywhere, she's the one responsible doing everything for that. Gurvik, he's the head of external affairs. So trying to get as many good guests as he can. Vedant and I were the co-hosts for the show. And Victoria, she's the head of film and production, which I think is very important. Some logistical questions you might have. Sorry. But if you actually go back to slide 1, some logistical questions that you might have are where can you find this podcast? So you can find this podcast right now in June on YouTube and all other podcast streaming platforms. And it's a bi-weekly event. So every second Saturday, we'll be putting out a podcast. That's it. Thank you.
You might be wondering, with all these events, how can you get involved with the club? If you haven't already, register as a member. The link is on our link tree. Come to our weekly events, participate in workshops, read papers, and discuss them with peers at reading groups, and chat with us during our online office hours. Also, each non-social event that you attend, so be it workshops, reading groups, panels, etc., gives you a ticket into a raffle to win some prizes at the end of the term. We will be taking attendance during these events, so make sure you register as well for a chance to win a prize. Here's a link to get yourself entered in a raffle for two $10 gift cards. This form is just to get an idea of what kinds of events you are interested in, what days work best for workshops and reading groups in the future, so we can plan accordingly. If you're interested in any of our events, this way we can make sure that we're having events on days where the majority of people can attend. I'll share this link in the chat too if you want to fill it out. Let's take a 5-minute break here so you can fill it out. And if you're interested, before we move on to the introduction to data science.
And while the people in the call get a chance to sort of fill this out, we'll also pause for any questions. I know we've thrown a lot of information at you, so if you have any questions at all, feel free to unmute or put in the chat too, if you're more comfortable with that.
I have a quick question. Can you actually post that form link in chat?
I think so. I think Bunch should
Yeah,
just.
I just did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Did anyone else have any questions at all? And there's no rush to fill out the form. You can always fill it out after, but we just wanted to put it out there so that you're able to get that time to fill it out instead of having to spend time outside of this meeting. But if there aren't any questions, I think we can move forward. Oops. Cool. Cindy,
All right, so now that we've gone through the plan for spring 2021, let's get started on an introduction to data science and cover what it is. So why do we need data science? Well, we live in an era of big data, which means there lies a world of possibilities with everything we can do with this data. There are a lot of trends in the information age, and our decisions are becoming more and more automated. For example, what product should we recommend to this customer? Decisions are quantitatively driven. We use these data sets to get insights and improve our businesses or drive research in various fields. Data scientist roles are becoming more and more important for each company as data is becoming more available. There has also been a huge shift in research towards using statistics and machine learning to help with innovations. You will see a lot more companies in a variety of fields use data scientists. Some examples are for detecting frauds for banks, classifying medical images, product analytics, etc. Data science skills are extremely transferable among all these different fields. All right, now for some quick examples. One example of data science being incorporated into our everyday lives is Netflix recommendations. They use a personalized recommender system in order to use past data. So for example, the shows you have watched, the ratings that you have given them, and what shows you do not want to watch. This has been the source of 80% of stream time for Netflix. It is really beneficial as it reduces the overwhelming amount of options that consumers have to make when all these new shows appear on Netflix. Their personalized recommender system works really well and it has revolutionized the movie industry. Now, fraud detection is another common example, especially prevalent in the banking industry. Data science can be used to find fraudulent activities. This can involve fraudulent activities in credit cards or other transactions. Some of these algorithms are used to cluster and segment data to find patterns or to use pattern recognition to try and find suspicious behavior. Okay, now let's get into what data science is and what skills are needed now. So I'll pass it off to Ryan.
Thanks, Cindy. So now that we talked about different applications of data science, you may wonder what data science is and how you can get started with it. So data science is used to dig deeper into like the data and find insights and analytics and make decisions to help businesses. So data scientists have knowledges in mathematics, statistics, computer science, or even like any STEM program. So it is almost referred to as like a blend of a statistician as well as a software engineer. So the process for a data scientist involves first framing the problem and determining the scope of the problem. You really want to pin down like the scope of the problem in order to dig into the problem much more. So this can be really important so that you do not start with a very big problem. Then you can collect the data if it's not readily available. This can be like consumer data or even involve extracting external data sources, such as using web scraping. And once the data is collected, a large part of the data science role is about cleaning and pre-processing the data into the form that is needed for modeling. And I would say almost 90% of like the data science job is almost cleaning up the data and making sure it's readily available for modeling. And so this can include outlier analysis, handling missing data, etc. And this part also includes like the exploratory data analysis, which involves getting familiar with the data set that you're working on. And the next steps would be to dive deeper into the data analysis that you're working on, as well as do modeling and visualization. At the end of the day, as a data scientist, you are required to translate the data work that you have done into the business terms. So you also need to have like a good business skills in order to work as data scientist, so that you can take this analysis and make some conclusion to add business value. So the data science job is an almost interdisciplinary. It relies on balance of all the three sections that you can see on your screen. So you need to have strong mathematical foundation, including statistical research and machine learning. You also need to have good, strong computer science skills in order to do some data processing and apply machine learning algorithms. And lastly, you need to have a domain expertise in order to make conclusion and understand the results from your data. So this can become a bit more daunting for you, but it also provides you a lot of opportunity to enter from different areas. And there are a lot of resources to get you started. So to get into the field, there are some relevant skills that you may want to get equipped in order to apply for your data science role, whether it's be through internships or through full-time role. As well as multivariate calculus. And these two subjects are super useful because you can have a lot of data points that have multidimensional vectors. And so a collection of data points is called like a matrix. So an example of this or calculus being used is where you're using partial derivatives in order to use gradient descent in order to optimize your learning functions. Probability and statistics is also an important aspect of a data scientist. So you'll likely be faced with a lot of likelihood functions in order to estimate parameters, as well as use probability to make predictions with other algorithms. And so data science relies heavily on probability theory and statistics. So a common example I can give you would be like A/B tests. So think about like a website. So maybe there is an icon that's placed in the web screen. So as a data scientist, you may wonder which area would you like to put that icon so that users click more into it. So it is almost like you can do like a statistical testing in order to give different parameter scenarios to different customers and see which customers like the most. And as a way, you can help your businesses and organizations thrive. And lastly, software engineering is also important. To implement machine learning algorithms and automate the implementation of these statistical methods, you definitely need to have a good software engineering background. An important part is to understand data structures. So these skills are super important for data scientists in order to work efficiently. So you may wonder what type of technologies that you should get familiar. And although there are a lot of different tools and technologies, most data scientists usually use SQL. And we recommend that people have a lot of familiarity with databases. So relational databases often use queries like SQL, and it's almost required for every single role. And even like in interviews, you'll be asked about different SQL questions, and this can definitely help you get a leg up if you do familiarize yourself with SQL. And we also use in data science the distributed frameworks like Hadoop, Spark, and where a lot of companies store their data and handle their massive data sets. And lastly, for data processing and cleaning, which is mostly what you do as a data scientist, you use Python or R. Sometimes MATLAB can also be used. And in order to do some of the machine learning work, like you will have to get familiar with different Python libraries and frameworks. And so some of them can be pandas and NumPy that can be used for data manipulation, scikit-learn to implement some of the machine learning algorithms, as well as TensorFlow and PyTorch. And so now we have gone through what some of the techniques or some of the tools that you would be using. Let's go over some of the machine learning techniques. So these are becoming more and more common, even in interviews, as well as like the work that you do. So the machine learning techniques can be separated either into supervised learning and unsupervised learning. So supervised learning is where the algorithm is learning on the labeled data set. So think of like a data set where you already know the answer, and then you're trying to train your model using the answer key to evaluate the accuracy. And so some of these examples can be classification or regression, and that can include linear and logistic regression. And on the other side, we have unsupervised learning, which provides labeled data to an algorithm. And so the algorithm would first try to understand the patterns in that data set and try to come up with trends and features that are important. And some of these examples do include dimensionality reduction, like PCA, as well as different clustering algorithms like k-means clustering. And so this can be a lot of overwhelming amount of information that we have provided you right now, and it may seem to you that it's difficult to get into the field. But do not worry, there are a lot of resources to get involved and to learn different skills, and you just need to have like a lot of motivation in order to succeed as a data scientist. So you can take different online courses through Coursera or DataCamp, or even like through watching just YouTube. And we also have our YouTube videos recorded from the Data Science Club, where we have gone through different techniques that you can check it out. You can also check out different Kaggle competitions. And nowadays, Kaggle also has different kernels where people or students like you have also posted their work. So you can look at their work and take inspiration from their work as well. And lastly, you can try learning through different tutorials. So that can be reading online articles on Medium or like towards data science, as well as different other blogs such as Analytics Vidya. And so learning data science shouldn't be an issue for you. You just need to have the motivation. There are tons of resources to get you started. And so, yeah, that wraps up our presentation. I guess we'll open up the floor for any questions.